Now, the economic freedom fighters have come out guns blazing, attacking the new National Director of Public Prosecution, Shamila Batohi. Appointed by President Cyril Ramaphosa, she's only been on the job for 2 days and is already knee-deep in investigating corruption. You'd think the EFF would be delighted, having built their party's image as corruption fighters, but their leader, Julius Malema, says he doesn't trust her.
To tell you the honest truth, I've got no trust on the new appointed head of NPA. She's very close to Pravin Gordhan. She's controlled by a group that is close to Pravin Gordhan. I don't think they were helping anything there. They were appointing her to protect the crimes of Pravin Gordhan and the cabal which is aligned with Pravin Gordhan and Cyril Ramaphosa. The EFF government will appoint an independent head of NPA who's going to arrest criminals, whether they are EFF criminals or not. Drunk too.
So why is the EFF attacking the new National Director of Public Prosecution, and why now? Tonight we speak to political analyst Kaya Sithole and Professor Mark Swilling from the University of Stellenbosch, and he joins us from our Cape Town studio. Gentlemen, good evening. Kaya Sithole, what is the problem with the NPA in the eyes of the EFF?
Absolutely no justification has been provided by Julius Malema, full of speculation saying that she's affiliated with the cabal. She's been appointed to protect Pravin Gordhan from crimes that, let's say, are imaginary, because Pravin Gordhan has never been convicted of any crime. He's not even alleged to have committed any crime. So it was quite surprising that in a manifesto which really had so many good moments, where it really appealed to the constituents of the EFF, he then gravitates and says all these things that are completely unsubstantiated and unjustifiable. And I have absolutely no idea how he felt that this would add to the EFF manifesto. Keep in mind that later on in the manifesto, he then speaks in glowing terms about the need to root out corruption and even the need to then transform the NPA to a Chapter 9 institution so that it becomes accountable to Parliament. So I saw a lot of contradictions there.
Mark Swilling, what do you make of the contradictions and the drive to have this diatribe?
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Don't forget that it was President Zuma who sent Pravin Gordhan to Limpopo in 2012 to shut down the Malema patronage networks, which actually was a pretty rough time. And Pravin Gordhan did succeed in putting a lot of that province under administration. And that was the prelude to the exit from the ANC Youth League of Malema. So Malema has a huge axe to grind. And there's been hostility since then between the two.
And why is he linking the head with Pravin Gordhan? I mean, what's he insinuating about that relationship?
Well, I mean, he clearly believes that Pravin Gordhan has in some way instigated this appointment in order to make sure that the NPA goes after Malema. So I think what Malema is doing is preparing himself for an investigation, which may well dig back into the corruption that took place in the Limpopo province. So I think this is part of the beginning of discrediting those who investigate that, contrary to his claim in his speech that he wouldn't mind EFF being investigated.
Is that what's happening here, all the way back to Limpopo? I mean, what about the allegations that the EFF have got their fingers in the cookie jar and the VBS connection? You know, Floyd Javambo's brother, Julius Malema's cousin, Dalim Pufo, doing the transaction in the house with the illegal cigarette smugglers. I mean, those are all things that have never gone away.
So this is the problem with Malema actually putting this out into the open, because now people are going to start speculating why now, what is his motivation. He could have simply said, look, there's been a new appointment, let us all support her. Now, of course, him then going out to attack the appointment of Shamila Batohi even before she starts working, then there's a lot of people starting to think, well, what is it that he's trying to sort of get away from? So again, I still think he used completely the wrong platform, because now we should be talking about the EFF manifesto and the things that they said that they're going to do, and yet yet now. The focus is on saying, well, why is he attacking somebody who's actually walked in a very transparent appointment process, I might say. And if the EFF had a view on Shamila Batohi, they knew that she was being interviewed and she was part of the panel of delegates that had said they are putting their hands forward. They could have actually submitted a report to that panel and said, well, actually, we do not think that this one is fit for purpose because of these particular reasons. To then come after the fact and say there are issues that we have, then the question would be, but you saw the process. It was as transparent as it could be. And if you guys had issues relating to this candidate, you could have said it at that point in time. So it remains very, very unclear to most of us exactly what it is that they're trying to pursue. And of course, it then leaves us speculating what is it that they're trying to preempt.
And there's, speculation here, this tweet from Paula Hubert about lesson in propaganda. She says, let's make them discuss what we want them to discuss. That way no one questions, is Julius Malema paying rent? Where does the 70K odd per month for rental come from? If not paying, what is arrangement and quid pro quo? Staying with Mazotti, attacking SARS, ? And this is a response from Graham Rabi, a journalist, quoting Malema. He said, of VBS, with SARS and Guptas, you won't find us anywhere, he claims, despite Paula VW's reporting of VBS that his party is clean. Mark Swilling, what sort of fight now do you think the EFF has to have to sort of distance themselves from these claims that are out there and trashing the head of the NPA?
Well, I think Malema would be best advised to qualify his statements. It's very difficult to withdraw such vicious statements. But he either has to withdraw, face the music and withdraw those statements as just unguarded moments, or explain. Because I agree completely that what he's done now is raised a whole bunch of questions about what is he trying to hide. So the best thing that could be done is to volunteer to be fully cooperative with the MPA in its investigations into VBS. And, if necessary, back into the Limpopo networks that Pravin Gordhan shut down way back, because there's never really been a reckoning when it comes to what happened, the kind of looting of Limpopo around that time.
And the danger, as you say, it's sort of raising a flag there. But what sort of danger when you attack the head of the NPA generally to his supporters in a country like South Africa where we need to clean up?
I think it's obviously setting the country back a few steps, because we all know that, unfortunately, that office of the NPA has been subject to monumental levels of interference by the ANC in particular. No single head of the NPA has ever served out their full term, simply because all of them find a way to get too close to the politicians. So you'd have thought that, particularly for a party like the EFF that goes on an anti-corruption message, they would have said, look, even though she might not be the perfect candidate, this is a person who's at least going to be in the position because the position has been vacant. Sean Abrahams clearly doesn't count, so that at least there's going to be someone there who might be pursuing particular matters. And if it turns out that some of those matters relate to the EFF, then so be it. And communicating a message like that would have said, we are still anti-corruption, even if some of us might be implicated. Ironically, he says it in part of the speech, and you can't reconcile that with the fact that he's attacking somebody, he's attacking an office that a lot of us in South Africa are looking up towards, to say perhaps this is the office that is going to extricate us from this 10 years of this maladministration that we've seen. To then undermine it on its first day is completely disingenuous.
And it might actually work, because her record is untarnished. She's an important player on the ICC. Thank you both for talking to us. Mark Swilling, Kai Sitole. That's our show for tonight. News is next.